Welcome, seniors. It is good to be virtually with you. I'd like to go through how virtual school is going to work and remind you of a few things. The norms for the virtual class are as follows. Make sure that you mute your mics and use the chat politely. If we start on time, we can end on time. And of course, your attendance will be recorded by the work you complete and your presence. If you have questions, please use the chat feature, unless I tell you otherwise to speak up. Let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that we actually need to do is to learn how to use the Plans tab. So go ahead and get to your Environmental Science Global Issues Network project. Once you get here, you'll be able to see the Plans tab. Click on the Plans tab and you will see Day 5. Under Day 5, you will find that there is, it brings you up the presentation for March 31st and April 1st, and it gives you an outline of the goals for the day. Go ahead and read those goals. I'm not going to read them for you, but you can take a second to pause if you'd like. Now, the next thing we need to understand is what those goals are. The goals are that you would, first off, set a goal by using the Create Goals box down here in the lower right-hand corner. And if you click on that, you will get this opportunity to type your own goal. I suggest you do something like submit completed outline in CP3. You can also copy that goal from the agenda above and click the Create Goal. Boom, there you go. All right. Now, let's look at the resources we have available today. The first thing that we're going to look at is this GIN Project Hub. Click on the GIN Project Hub. That's going to bring you to this checklist. I would like you to go down this entire top section of the fact sheet, the one-page fact sheet, and I'd like you to look at all of these requirements here for each of these sections. Look at all those requirements. Also notice that you have links, live links throughout this resource that should help you go through and make sure you have your one-page facts sheet entirely complete. Please spend 5 to 10 minutes right now, pause, and make sure that you have all of this stuff completed and in your one-page fact sheet, which is due when we come back from spring break. But you will not get any feedback if you don't submit it to me by the end of class on by the end of this week. Now it's time to move on to our next the next item on our agenda. That is the oral presentation rubric. So go ahead and click on that oral presentation rubric. Here I'd like you to go over and look at each of these sections. This is how you pass. Doing these things are the basic things required to pass on oral presentation. You've got to make good eye contact, use appropriate volume, make sure your body language is professional. Make sure that your posture, your gestures, that those are all engaging and positive. and you want to engage your audience. To get a 6+, you've got to engage your audience according to the rubric effectively and consistently throughout your presentation. And your audience must interact with you and be responsive in both body language and verbally. Now, let's be honest, none of you is Tony Robbins or Morgan Freeman. You're not likely to be paid to present this immediately, so it's not easy to get a 5.5 or to get a 6.5 or a 7. That's just not an easy thing. Therefore, you make sure that when you're not presenting, you are a great audience, in addition to being a charismatic presenter. This current virtual environment doesn't change your ability to behave professionally and to do a good job in your presentation. Now, notice each of these categories here. You want to get pluses and minus signs in each of these boxes written, or you want to get plus signs, not minus signs, written in each of these boxes from me. That's how we score this. Make sure that you get positive signs and not negative signs, and make sure you don't, as an audience member, make me take note of negative signs while you're an audience member. You can hurt your own scores when someone else is presenting by being a bad audience member. Don't do that to yourself or to them. You can, of course, help your own scores by being an excellent audience member. If you make me note how engaging and positive and encouraging you are, that also is part of an oral presentation. So be a great audience. If you distract others or cause problems, you will lose points. So don't do that. Again, if you're helpful, if you're encouraging and engaged, you could gain them. Keep that in mind. All right, let's navigate back over to the other tab and go to our outlining activity down here. In the oral presentations section here, what we need to do is to go through and fill out these boxes here to create an outline here. I've changed this checkpoint to better reflect our current needs in the virtual environment. This is the first box that you must complete for attendance today. Click on the outlining presentations and checkpoint 3. This will appear if you click on it again from the previous page. And this is where you type your outline. I would like to suggest that this section right here is a good way of kind of thinking about your outline. It should have a lot of these pieces in it. And you should also consider it in the context of the COG skills. So those are very clear for me to see and very clear for your audience to understand. Notice those instructions, and for the next 20 to 30 minutes, I would like you to make sure that you have written in this box an outline that will allow you to explain your global issue, what it is, define it, and then explain it in the context of 2 articles, right? 2 articles, so that you can synthesize multiple sources. Your outline should allow you to speak for 10 to 15 minutes before your activity. This, of course, allows me to observe you and to get to all the other presenters. Don't short your presentation. Don't make it something it's impossible for me to give you a score. If you do less than 10 minutes of oral presentation, it will likely be hard to have a passing score, because I will be observing each presentation, but only listening to one at a time. So again, please make sure that you've got enough material written. This should be a larger written portion than what's just written on your one-page fact sheet. Don't try and ad-lib this. Make sure that you have enough written notes here to speak for 10 to 15 minutes. All right, folks, let's go to back to our next section of the agenda. Again, if we go down to the next section, this shouldn't take quite as much time. And there's a lot of overlap here, but if we go to oral presentations, what we'll see is that the next box below this, your presentation agenda, this you should probably start by just copying this and pasting it down here, and then putting in the number of minutes it will take you to do each of these sections. You can practice it. Matter of fact, you should practice it, I would say a minimum of 3 times, and prepare yourself to do this presentation. A good oral presenter doesn't come in cold. If you think you deserve a high score, you had better practice. Follow, again, the example here, this example, and remember that your entire presentation is supposed to take 15 to 20 minutes for the entire thing, 10 to 15 spoken. So I need enough time to observe you and the other people, and observe you engaging your small group of people in your activity. Otherwise, I won't be able to score you. So in the outline and in this agenda, you need to have more words than are in your one-pager. All right, thank you, folks. Once you have both of these boxes completed, it's going to be time to go up and request feedback back here, and click the request feedback button back behind my face right now. Click that request feedback button. That will signify to me that you've completed it, and I'll be able to go in, give you color-coded feedback, and if time allows, even some written notes on things that you should fix or improve in your agenda and your outline. Let me remind you guys of one more final thing. In your email, I sent you a Google Doc that allows you to sign up to present. Those presentations, you may sign up to present on the first day. You may not sign up to go on the last day. I will be randomizing and publishing the final order by Friday. So you'll be able to see it in those links. I look forward to virtually seeing you guys in a couple of days, and I hope that we can get everybody in good shape and on track so that I can enjoy the graduation time with all of you. We've got a lot of work to do, and I look forward to being together with you guys again. Oh, don't forget, today's video is brought to you by Coca-Cola and Doritos.